Big Mecha.
All right, we are good to go. Welcome, everyone, to Season 4 of Big Mecha! But not huge. We are back after a very long hiatus. We were trying to do Toka for 2. That didn't pan out very well.
It did. I
eh,
blame you.
I blame a whole lot of factors. One being my mom dying, but then the others are like, Christian and Gavon Infinity
Skill
not being
issue.
great. So we are back.
I mean,
with...
listen,
Yeah.
in your defense, when someone dies, that tends to be a huge bummer, So I mean, like,
Which is partially the reason why I'm getting us into Ava. It's all about moms.
Yeah,
It's really uplifting.
Yeah, when you really go through something, you need to chill out. So you got to go watch Ava. Yeah, that's what you got to do.
Yeah,
Sorry,
you do identify more with Shinji and his friend
chill.
now, don't you?
We're gonna table that.
Wow.
So this entire season is going to be dedicated to Neon Genesis Evangelion, where we're going to be watching the show, the end of Evangelion movie, the 4 rebuild movies, and as a special thing, we're also going to be doing Gunbuster and Diebuster afterwards. So strap in, everybody.
Which have nothing to do with this show, but are much more uplifting.
We'll see.
Oh, those are real things? I thought you were just making that up.
No, they are real. It's what Hideaki Anno ended up making before Evangelion.
Ah, okay.
Are those purely him? Those felt more like not just him as creative voice.
I don't know. I'll take a look later. But to start things off, let's go ahead and bring on our cast. So we've got our traditional hosts. We've got Will and Paul. Say hello.
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 We have multi-returning episode guest, David. Say hello, David.
Hello, David. I can't help myself, sorry.
We have a special guest by the name of Bryan, also known as Critical Composer. Say hello.
What's up?
And then last but not least, we have my very, very, very good friend, Ryan. Say hello.
Hello. That sounds... I don't like the way you said that.
Yeah, I did it on that way on purpose.
I thought you called me Bryan at first by accident.
I
was about to leave this Discord.
So...
just like all the other times.
I figured what I could do is ask everybody, their history with Ava, and then we'll talk about the episodes afterwards and a little bit of trivia or anything else like that. So first things first, Will, what is your history with Ava?
Well, I just want to go ahead and lampshade this. I'd like to say it's very brave of you to bring back a show called Big Mecha with a show that has no robots in it. It's very brave of you to go completely against the genre like that.
Wow.
But anyways, my initial experience was they were airing it on Toonami, and I couldn't stand the show because the characters were so whiny. In particular, I hated Asuka. I couldn't stand her English dub actress at the time. Probably because Asuka reminds me a lot of myself, and I have issues. So that's probably where that came from. But there's also a lot of yelling in Ava, and when you're watching it piecemeal and not actually watching it like consistently, it kind of just comes off as sometimes 4 or 5 minutes of a character screaming at another character, and you're like, why? What's happened? Why? I don't understand. And then just immediately to another anime 15 minutes later, and you're like, I don't know if I want to watch more of that, so I didn't.
And that's the end of Will.
That was 20 years ago.
He's not wrong.
But Will, did you end up ever rewatching the show on Netflix?
Yeah, I watched it when Netflix decided that they are, I guess, poor and can't afford music, so they re-edited a bunch of songs in the show, including cutting the entire ending theme and replacing it with a random piano track. I don't know why, except that they are cheap. If you watch it on Netflix, fun fact, you did not watch the original version of the sound for the show. And if you watch the original version, you will be very confused why there's Godzilla music playing randomly in certain episodes. It's because they rescored it, because Netflix is cheap. It's the same reason they redid the dub instead of just buying it.
So I'm going to cut in real quick. I bought the Perfect Collector's Edition when it came out, when they were deciding to release everything for the new dub, in every which way that they could. It also came with the original dubs and subs on Blu-ray discs as well. Problem is, it's still using that same music track that they put on Netflix.
Oh, that is heinous.
Yeah, so after I
that is bullshit.
It does not carry.
Is it using?
It's not using "Fly Me to the Moon." It doesn't have that. So I actually have to pull out my DVDs for that version.
You've got to all that money they have you spend on a collector's edition, and they're not even going to put the actual music of the show. Okay, that's stupid. I hate living in
that's why.
America when it
That's
comes to
literally
licensing.
why I went looking for my copies.
Every time they re-release anime in Japan, they just re-release it. They don't redub it and rescore it so they can save money on fucking licensing. They just take the files and hit copy paste. Why American businesses? Why do you do this to art?
Paul, go ahead.
I originally saw the show back in 2000, like freshman year of high school. Yeah, like on DVD, and I'm watching the Netflix dub, and I'm like, this just feels wrong. This feels so wrong. Like I knew Johnny Young Bosch was not in freaking Evangelion. The first time I watched it.
It's a little jarring. I forgot about that.
I was like, wait, what?
Wait, who does he play in the Netflix version? I don't remember.
Plays fucking Toji.
Does he really?
Yes, he plays Toji. It's really jarring to hear his voice come out of the character. You're like, okay.
It's like, no, your voice does not belong there, sir. And I don't know how they got an even whinier voice for Shinji, but they did.
So well done.
I'm like,
Shinji is supposed to be annoying and whiny, and
they clearly
couldn't
find a male actor who would sound that bad, so they had to go for a female voice actor to do him.
Well, on that note,
and I'm just like, there was I did not realize it was going to be that different.
It's a little bit different, but let's hear from everyone else to see their opinions on what they've witnessed first. So let's go with David. What did you end up watching, or have you watched it before?
I guess Sean's the only one who knows this. I am a notorious hater of Ava, primarily because I hate the people who watch Ava, who for like a decade used to randomly bother me. If you haven't seen Ava, I'm like, no, I don't want to watch Ava. So I watched a little bit of it way back in the day. Classic. Like everyone else here saw it in Toonami. Saw it in episode 2. Was like, yeah, everyone here complains too much, and I just didn't bother going back. And then I just kept having mutual friends of ours endlessly being like, you should watch Ava. I'm like, you should. I probably shouldn't say what my actual response was because we're being recorded. But I pretty much dodged Ava forever, and I only ever heard it from people trying to explain. The only good thing about Ava, in my opinion, up until now, has been it's funny to watch people explain Ava. That's better than actually watching Ava, because people look like they're trying to resist the urge to crash out, to not say what happens at the end of Ava first when they're talking about Ava, because they realize what we're gonna be doing here. The best part about Ava is the last 5 episodes, and we have to pretend that we don't know what happens in the last 5 episodes.
I don't remember what happens in the last 5 episodes, but I did watch the entire run on Netflix.
Yeah, we're not going to do any future spoilers for this one.
And then we have to do that 3 times.
Yeah, I've only seen the first 4 episodes, so this is my first time.
Oh, really? Yeah.
This is my first time torturing myself with this series.
Now, let's go to someone who has watched this show before, Ryan.
Yeah, so I've watched it. So I originally saw it when it came out. What was it, 05, 06 on Cartoon Network? I watched a couple episodes then. I was like, this is not Gundam. I don't give a shit about this.
Accurate description.
Which I think it was hard because you watch like the original Gundam, and you have this kid that like he fights because he has to, like, or else innocents are gonna die. Versus Shinji, who's fighting because he wants daddy to love him, and he's a simp. But I didn't like it at first. It did not resonate with me at all. I didn't care about it. I liked Gundam better. I was like, this is the superior show. And then I went back to it maybe, I don't know, 5 or 6, 7 years ago. I think it was right after I watched Gurren Lagann. I was just in the mood for something like that. And it actually resonated with me quite a bit. I have seen the show a million times, and I don't even know what happens in the last like 5 episodes. So it is just a brain melting. It's like a Pink Floyd song on DMT. It's fucking insane. So enjoy that for your first time.
Speaking
but I
of
like Ava.
First times, Bryan, you popped your Ava cherry.
Yeah, I guess I have. I think the first thing that really surprised me was listening to the opening song, because I know that from Dance Dance Revolution.
Oh my god, I forgot it was actually on there.
Good song.
Yeah, and I thought to myself, I was like, wait, have I
I'm
seen
just
this? This
glad
is
they kept it.
incredibly familiar. But other than that, I have no
Mm.
understanding, idea about what I'm getting in store for here. I've never seen it, never seen a trailer. I have no idea, other than that it's one of the greatest animes that people always bring up in like top tens.
I will accept it as favorites, but
Mm.
I don't. This is one of those things where like people talk about a thing and they go, "Oh, it's a pillar of like the year it came out or that time period." Probably true, and it sets a lot of stuff in motion, but it is a relic of its time. I would argue most modern fans of anything would probably bounce off really hard of the show because I didn't realize how fucking slow the original show is. Like
You fucking
nothing
take that
happens.
back.
45 seconds of urinal pan shot?
I mean,
That's what real life is like.
yeah.
It's boring and slow. So you like Attack on Titan, don't you, Will?
I li-
I watched season 1.
Okay, I hate that show with a fiery passion. So
I liked season
You-
1, and then I never went back. Does that mean that I
you weren't
liked
the
it?
only
I
one.
feel like it means that I liked it because I
yeah,
skipped the
I,
entire rest of the show.
yeah,
yeah, pretty much. I mean, listen, the best way to watch
Yeah, yeah.
watch Attack on Titan is to read it in the beginning, leave it alone for 2 months, go back to read the last 30 chapters, and pretend you read the whole thing. That's what I
Jesus.
did. You know what I mean?
Wow. So,
Damn.
It's
That's
wild.
fair. That's fair.
So,
It's
Bryan,
interesting that you bring up
oh, go ahead, sorry.
what? I was going to say it's interesting that you bring up that it's a product of its time because when I was taking my notes while watching these episodes, that is exactly what I put. That I'm trying to view it the same way that I viewed playing Super Metroid a few years ago, in
yeah.
that it feels very dated now, but it was absolutely integral for all of these games that I have played to exist.
The reason both of those feel dated is because they became so influential that they date themselves. Like
Absolutely.
you go, "Oh, this is boring," and it's like, "Yeah, because that was so influential, it went everywhere."
Yeah, no
And
one
it
else
wasn't a
had done
choice.
this.
Yeah, Super Metroid came out and was massively influential, and it basically turns itself into a relic because all the shit it did got so popular. Everyone's played Symphony of the Night if they've played a Metroidvania of the last 20 years because everybody copied. And
Yeah.
so it's the same thing with Ava, where a bunch of the stuff that it did just became standard. And that's kind of where we are.
garbage take.
It's
Just kidding.
it's kind of
Excuse
funny.
you, Trash Panda take. Thank you.
But the thing is, for me, I think
I'm
the only
kidding.
thing that's really interesting about Ava
Okay,
for
I'm
me
not gonna lie.
is like social and economic stuff in terms of the fact that it's like it's so rooted in time because Ava came out. I want to say it was being made right before Japan had its first major economic crash.
Mm.
So it's crazy to see Ava open up right after because in the 80s, a lot of media that happens to have Japan in it, and it's a lot of like even news articles and people even writing about it, even like throwaway like magazines are talking about how everyone's worried about Japan is going to be the next world power because this
Yeah.
crazy economic boom it
Yeah.
had, right? In 80s, they were living it up like US people in the 60s and 70s, right? It was
Yes.
very similar in that. And they had this crazy economic boom, and you would see like Back to the Future 2, Marty McFly has like a like double rising sun tie like neckties with the Japanese flag on it. He gets fired by a Japanese dude. And like a lot of like that's how it was. And then you look at
Yeah,
Ava now,
that was a
you look
big
at
thing in the 80s.
you look at Ava in the 90s and you think about like, what would hypothetical 2015 Japan be? Wait, Japan it has UN forces on Japan. Wait, what? What the fuck is going on?
Yes.
I
The
was
UN and
laughing.
their peacekeeping force of tanks.
Hmm.
And I'm thinking like, oh wait, you mean Japan, notoriously the country that tends to not want outside help, has the United Nations trying to be helpful. Wow, you were really positive about the United Nations being helpful in anything that wasn't talking because wait, they had weapons
Damn.
and they used them? Man, Anna was really positive about the future of the way how people will be helping each other because that is not how it
So
is now. So I'm just laughing about that for me anyways.
since this is a
Hmm.
multiple watch for me, I am paying a little more attention to the politics. They, in their little roundtable scene, because this takes place 15 years after everything went to shit the ice caps melted, the world fell the fuck apart. There were wars. There was all sorts of shit. Everybody's like, "Oh my god!" And then like half the population died or something. Several billion died.
Half. Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, half of all humanity is dead. So this is 15 years after that. And after that cataclysm, they basically all of the countries like pooled their resources into nerve and other weird shit to try and help humanity survive. And that's why they have all this weird like fringe science stuff, is because they spent 15 years pouring all the money they had and all of the everything into it. And you've got like the board that he works for is clearly a like half business industrialists and half like political people. So the guys in that room, a couple of them are just probably fucking CEOs of companies that have a ton of money. They're not even politicians or like the government. They're just a cabal of very influential people with a lot of money.
So talking about this being a pillar of the time, follow me here, okay? I'm going to
All
say
right.
something weird. September 11th. Okay. I know that's
Yeah,
weird.
that
Don't laugh. It's not a
definitely
joke.
did not
Yeah.
happen.
So right after
Damn,
September
David.
11th, right, I know, David, Jesus. Right after September 11th, so many songs, TV shows, movies either got canceled or changed, you know, all that. So if you actually look back to 95 in Japan, in January, they had that massive earthquake that killed like 6,000 people and like destruction everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Then 2 months later, they had that mass like nerve gas attack in the subways where like 6,000 or something people died and got sick. And then everybody had a massive like hysteria about, you know, cults and religious iconography and stuff like that. So you look at Ava, which came out later that
It was
year.
a cult that did it.
Yeah,
It was a cult that did the gas attack in the.
Well, yeah,
in
that's what
the-
I'm saying.
in
Is
the,
so like you've got a massive
yeah.
earthquake destruction, you've got a cult with all the, you know, you'll see the religious stuff later in Ava, but a lot of that may have impacted Japan at the time a lot more because of what they've been through in the year. So that's why I brought up 9/11. I didn't mean to make you laugh, David Calderon.
No,
The national tragedy.
Damn.
my immediate
Wow.
thought was, you know what? Probably in Ava universe, in the mythical years from '95, I think Anno would probably still think, you know what, 9/11 still happened actually. After the first impact happened, 9/11's a canon event. That probably still happened in Ava.
You think that hold on,
Probably
you
did.
think that the Antarctic ice caps melted and like 6 months later
Yeah.
a terrorist group that somehow was still around was like, now is our chance. Also assuming that planes are still flying.
You underestimate the generational hatred people have for America. So I'm just saying.
I don't underestimate that so much as half of humanity died.
Okay.
They're
Is
just all dead.
Is it
Everyone's
really
just
Never
so
dead.
mentioned
surprising?
9/11. Jesus Christ.
Is it really so surprising that like people can still hate each other after that happens when you have the capitalists
Yes, I
in
wouldn't argue
episode
that they would
1?
still be mad, but like I would argue the timeline is too short. So it's not 2001, it's like 2004, 2005 when, you know, planes are a thing again because all the pilots aren't dead anymore.
Is this how
You
Evangelion
know what's the funny part?
conversations usually go?
No,
Honestly,
I was
People
mostly
that watch
joking.
Ava, people that watch Ava are very mentally ill.
Listen, I was mostly
Oh,
joking
yeah.
when I
Oh,
back
yeah.
and he's still talking
Wait,
about
that's
it.
what I did to myself? Jesus.
Brian,
Yeah,
look, let me
pretty
tell you
much.
something real quick, Bry
Yeah.
guy. So I once took David Calderon to an all-you-can-eat pasta, and I brought this up the last time I was on a podcast. I took him to an all-you-can-eat pasta. He ate like one bowl and wimped out on me, and just I've never truly forgiven him for that. I do believe he was the actual cause of 9/11.
Wow.
So, anyways, let's get back to it.
Wild segue.
All right.
So this episode's sponsor, Spirit Airlines.
You know what?
Wow.
We're at one more canon event. You know what also happened in Ava as well? Probably actually happened is Harambe. Harambe also happened. That's a canon event too.
No,
That-
no.
that
Those
still
sons of
happened.
bitches. They saw that suffering and they were like, we're still going to take her
They accidentally
out.
stepped on him with one of the
Motherfuckers.
Avas. Bless his
Yeah.
little heart.
Shinji is the
Let's
reason.
just be honest. Let's be honest. Harambe drowned during the polarized caps melting. We all know that's true.
Damn.
No, that is untrue. I think Shinji was the kid that jumped into the Harambe pit. And Harambe's the
God damn it.
God.
He's
All
the
right.
cause. He's the
So-
reason.
We've discussed 9/11, all that stuff. What is everybody's take on Anne Frank? Real or mythological?
Jeez.
Just asking.
Well, it depends.
Moving
You
on
mean
from
the
Anne
version
Frank, we're not
presented
gonna entertain
Okay,
that.
let's move on to
You
Ava.
mean
My
the
bad.
historical fiction that is the
Will!
journal her family presented as a book, or the actual journal
God
that really
damn it.
exists and you can find a copy of?
My
Which one?
proximity to this podcast is going to get me canceled.
Proximity? You're not. No. It's not a proximity. You're in this. You're
Oh my
one of
god.
us.
Anyways, so going into
How much
some
of this
of
is
the
getting
facts about
edited?
Evangelion here. So the full title is Shinseki Evangelion, which stands for New Century Evangelion in Japanese, or New Beginning Gospel in Greek. The show came out in 1995 and aired from
And why?
95 to 96. Only has 26 episodes. And the director was Hideaki Anno, who created Gainax. So
We
go on.
founded it with a bunch of friends. It's very cool.
Yes. So with that being said, Gainax went on to doing a bunch of different things. They made Gurren Lagann, I believe, as their last thing before they ended up. Was it? No,
What?
they did a few other things, but some of their more big things were just more Evangelion stuff. They did Gunbuster, Diebuster, Gurren Lagann. Then they also did the 2 Gurren Lagann movies, and they also did some. Oh yeah, they also did Fooly Cooly back in the day.
Kill la Kill?
No, that's Trigger.
Or which is the leftovers of the studio broke apart at one point, essentially.
Right.
The creators all.
So when
went over
Gainax
places.
originally ended up going defunct, most of the people ended up going over to Studio Trigger, which are still going. They've got a whole lot of cool things under their name. But Anno ended up forming Studio Kara, and that's what he's been doing with the Ava series again under the Rebuild titles, and he's been basically doing everything he can with that. And then Anno also went and made 3 live-action movies: Shin Godzilla, Shin Ultraman, and Shin Kamen Rider.
Sean's favorite is Shin Kamen Rider.
First 2 was great. Third one was trash.
I agree. So, with all this said, I think we should go ahead and dive into the episodes themselves. Who wants to start off?
Before we get into it, I do want to say one thing. It was something that came in. It's a shower at thought. Isn't Eva the same thing as Mecha Godzilla?
Yes. Well, depends on which version. You have to specify. You just said Mechagodzilla.
I'm talking about Mecha Godzilla that has the original Godzilla skeleton inside of it.
So kind
You
of.
want the real answer or you want the joke answer?
Why don't we?
Because the
what
real
are
answer, I'm going to
corporate
tell you
gonna
future
say?
spoilers.
Why don't we circle back to this when the show is over?
Yeah.
To
we'll
answer that
circle back
question,
later.
you're gonna have to wait a month or 2.
Yeah, about. So
I'm okay with waiting a month or 2 to torture myself through this.
good.
Shin Godzilla is basically the closest we'll ever get to a live action Ava movie.
That is accurate.
I mean,
Yeah, probably. Until
is a-
10 years from now when he finally gets to make Shin Ava.
gonna have Timothy Chalamet play Shinji. When he's
Nope.
like 42
Oh,
years old.
yeah, as like a 30 or 40-year-old.
No,
Yeah.
I could see it. I could see it.
No. If they
You'll
do
still
real
look
life
like
Ava,
an annoying child.
no, it's gonna be horribly miscast. I think Timothy Chalamet's gonna play Gendo. Actually,
That's fair.
That's
he's gonna
not
be
a
the father.
miscast. At that point, he'll be like 40 or 30 or whatever.
No, he's still gonna look like
Oh, he's
We'll
still
current
gonna
have
look like
20-year-old.
Chris
Chris
Pratt play Shinji.
Yeah.
That makes the most sense. Yeah.
Yeah, he's gonna
Chris
be the
Pratt
Chris
is
Pratt.
Unit
Yeah,
1.
exactly. Yeah, no.
Yeah.
You know how Chris Pratt looked the exact same for like the last 15 years? Same thing with Timothy Chalamet. When they do the thing, it's like, oh, look at this 40-year-old man who's 23? Okay. Why does he still have the June mask on? I'm sorry, continue.
It would be better if Timothy Chalamet was actually one of the angels. Just like dress him up.
It's just a giant Timothy Chalamet.
Yeah.
No alterations, just giant naked Timothy Chalamet.
Put a core on his stomach and there you go.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
So stupid.
So the
Anyway,
first
so the
episode
first
is called
episode.
Angel Attack. And this is the setup episode, basically. We are given like an idea as to what everything looks like. You think everything's peaceful, and then all of a sudden the music starts blaring. We see explosions, and there's a giant, demonic-looking alien right there battling all the different forces of Japan.
No, battling the forces of the UN.
Actually, that's the greatest thing purpose, because another interesting thing is world went to shit. Absolute awful. Half the world died. Japan still doesn't have a standing army.
Nope.
Relied on the UN.
Hey, look, I know enough about Japan in World War II to say, yeah, no, they don't get an army anymore.
I mean, like an Ava unit. So it's
they
better.
lost that right.
Exactly. Then they only damage a few children, not all of the children.
I mean, until they get squashed.
If you're gonna live in Japan, it's a risk. Okay, so I have a question. People who know Ava better than me, what is an N2 mine?
I'm going to say that is their polite way of saying I want to use a nuclear weapon, but I don't want to piss off my
Okay,
fellow countrymen of
as
what a
this
nuclear
as
weapon is.
grounded as so much of this show is, Shinji and her are like barely a half mile, maybe 1 mile from that thing going off. They'd be fucking dead. Everyone in that
Oh,
city
you
would be
mean when
dead.
Shinji and Misato were in the
So
car?
They light off an N2 and they're so close that the car gets thrown like
Yeah.
100 feet. So like
No,
they'd be dead. The
no, 100%.
radiation alone would bake the insides of their bodies, and the rest of the city, when it comes up for air, would also be dead. How the fuck are you people alive? You lit a nuke off like close
it's
enough that my
actually
job is to my house.
it's actually pretty specific. It's non-nuclear in the show. If you pay
Okay,
attention to it,
non-nuclear.
it's just a giant
Okay.
explosion. The whole point of that mine, and I read about this years ago, was to show them using their most powerful weapon against an angel.
It's
What was that
just
thing's
meant to
name?
be
Sashio.
jack shit. Okay.
Yeah, and it like hurt him, but it didn't kill him. So it's
Yeah,
like this is how weak
made him
humanity
toasty,
is.
like
Yeah,
golden brown, essentially. Okay.
yeah. Because I thought the
I
same
kind
thing.
of
I was like, why are they not dead? There should be a
Yeah,
nuclear
exactly. Like
fallout.
with how grounded and how hard they try, which by the way, this the one thing the animation like always gets right in this show. This has some of the most accurate gravity and like physics animation. I in classic hand-drawn animation, this has some of the best that I've seen in a long time. And I know some of that was they're saving money by doing smaller movements, but it genuinely looks like real. Like when they show the trains moving and the trains are basically big heavy solid objects and everything else moves but not the train because it's a maglev, that's realistic. That's exactly how that would look in real life. When you're inside the train, small things like the little handlebars would move but everything else is pretty static. That makes sense. They do that really really well in this show. Everything has very very good weight. That's just one of those things that I like. I like seeing good quality animation.
I
If we're
like
gonna
good
talk about
weight.
things we like about Ava, especially the first episode, so like I was saying earlier about Gundam, I liked the first episode of Ava a lot because it introduces this kid, and
Mhm.
he obviously is estranged from his dad. His dad's kind of a shitbag, to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, he's
But
a terrible
it's
fucking
all
human
of
being.
this like, hey, you're 14 years old, but the entire responsibility of the world is on your shoulders, which is a lot
Hmm.
for a kid. And it's like this big hero moment, but he's not a conventional like anime hero. He gets the
Hmm.
literal shit beat out of him and
Yep.
loses basically at that point at the end of the first episode. And he doesn't like have these, dreams of piloting Ava. He doesn't want to do it at all. He literally just does it because he wants approval and he doesn't want Ray to get, hurt
The
any
only
further.
two
So,
things driving him are daddy issues.
yep.
And he looks over at Ray and is like,
Mhm.
oh my God, I cannot be that terrible of a person. She is literally, they're rolling her into it like
Don't
she's
let her
a
go back
cookie
in.
off of a tray. They're just folding her into the seat.
Yeah.
I can't do that. I'm not that much of a monster. Yeah, fine, I'll do it. I'll jump in the thing. The him and Ray dynamic is something I'm probably going to pay attention to over the course of the show because they both kind of have the same personality in a lot. They're incredibly passive.
Yeah, that's accurate.
So obviously we get that all this set up here. We end up seeing Shinji and Masato go into the Nerve HQ. Which, by the way, how do you guys like it compared to Nerve?
Nerve sounds
Nerve?
cooler.
Nerve sounds better, and it's clearly
I,
NERV, and the E is silent because I
mm,
speak English. So it's Nerve. They're not French.
Brian,
Nerve
which
sounds like
version did you watch?
I am watching the original version with "Fly Me to the Moon" in the outro.
You
Ooh,
good
Japanese
for
Same
dub.
here. Yeah, same here.
what
Yeah.
a man of
I like
taste.
that. Yeah, I like that a lot.
Y'all are
It's in
talking about all
Japanese
these
too, the way God
English
intended.
voice actors. I don't know
Ooh.
anything going on with that.
Sean can't read subtitles, so he has to watch dubs.
Hey! With Toku for two, that's proven otherwise.
John can read?
Okay. Anyways, so
reading is fundamental.
with you mentioned Toji earlier, how Toji in the original broadcast version for America, he sounds a lot like this, and he has a little bit of a kind of a tone to it. Meanwhile, you said that it was Johnny Young Bosch in the Netflix version.
Yes, it is. Bash the Stampede.
Wow.
Yeah.
Fantastic. It's absolutely
Yeah.
fantastic.
So we
That
see
I love Johnny. He's so
oh,
fun.
we do see the
that
terrifying
was bad.
aspect of the angel as it's making its way through the city, and you can see that conventional weapons aren't working whatsoever. That's when they do
So
the N2 mine, and you can see that that didn't do shit other than stall it.
so they say terrifying, but the angel in this episode spends most of the episode walking,
Well,
swimming, and not
that
doing anything. It
that's
does
literally
like
a Godzilla
4
movie.
attacks.
He
Yeah,
walks
It's
and
a
it's
swims for like
terrifying
95
stance it
minutes.
has.
Yes.
exactly.
Thank you, Brian. Thank you for nothing, Will.
It is menacingly staring at us.
Think of it like this: like when it came to Pacific Rim, when the kaiju first showed up, they were there as, they progressively got worse and more terrifying and more dangerous. But the very first one that came out was basically just a spotter. It was scouting everything, and once it came up across civilization, that's when it started to attack. So same thing with this in that case,
The Sachiel would be considered the recon unit.
I suppose.
I don't know because he beat Shinji's ass pretty
I mean,
bad.
he was still well equipped.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, though, how much would it really take? So
Right. So, they Misato and Shinji, they're on their way to Nerve. You learn a little bit more about Shinji not really having a relationship with his father. Obviously, he's estranged. Misato ends up stepping in, saying, "Oh yeah, it's just a lot like with my father too." So she's got some daddy issues too.
Hmm.
We end
That
up learning
explains all
that
the shots in
Masato
the
is
opening.
fairly new to Nerve, and she still doesn't know her way around. Shinji literally doesn't give a shit until he actually sees his father in the room. And all the while, like, all these different things are going on. You're like, what the fuck is happening? Like, at that point, it's still just setting up for the very next episode. And then at the end of this one, you see where you actually get to see the top portion of Ava Unit 1, and Sachiel is trying to break into Nerve HQ, and the what was it? The ceiling and everything else above them just starts crumbling, and it ends up actually lifting its arm to shield Shinji from any kind of damage. Apparently, that's never happened with any Ava before. So
Don't worry, it won't ever happen again in the show either.
maybe. So from there, we end up going into episode 2 because literally at the very end, it's just get in the pilot or I'll make this little girl suffer. Options. So, Will, what happens with episode 2?
Episode 2 is a bit trolly, I'm going to say. They start you off in a hospital bed with no idea what happened in the fight, and then everyone talks about how great he was and that he defeated the angel. And you and Shinji are like, I'm sorry, what now? For about 12 minutes of episode. And then they show you the actual rest of the fight, and you get to see what happened. For those 12 minutes, you get Shinji being semi adopted, and I believe he goes to school in this episode.
I think that's not
No,
until the next one.
No.
no,
yeah, he
but
goes
this
in
one
3. He moves in with
Yeah.
Masato in episode 2, like you said.
in 2 he moves in and she adopts him essentially, where she because they say they'll give him some rando apartment near the base, and Misato's like, yeah, this kid is so sad and lonely, I can't do that. So she volunteers to take him on. We do also see the one character who is too good for this world in
Pen
this
Pen.
episode. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
yes, Pen Pen
Yep.
is best Pen Pen. So sadly, not enough spoken words from Pen Pen, but that's okay. We'll see.
He gives the
I mean,
greatest reactions.
Mm-hmm.
I think the
He
most
does.
important part of episode 2 is like before this, you just think it's these robots people are piloting, but this episode, you realize they are not simply being piloted. They
the
are,
the end of the episode
yeah,
reveals that calling them mecha is a strong word because they are basically piloting big squishy bioorganic life forms, and the giant nerve plug is
Mm-hmm.
a metal like big metal tube that injects into, I have to assume, some sort of nerve bundle. And the point of the kid syncing with it is because you're essentially doing the avatar thing, to compare it to a modern thing that the audience might be familiar with, where you control another living creature, except instead of an avatar where the living creature has no will of its own and is just a fleshy meat bag, the Avas have their own personalities and are basically being suppressed, which is why at one point when they're talking in an episode about how Ray got all fucked up during a test and they show her unit with its fist still jammed into the wall because the Ava units are mercurial. That's probably a good word. If
Mm-hmm.
essentially, if you don't pilot it
Yeah.
correctly, the unit wakes up, goes insane, feral, and then attacks whatever's in front of it.
Otherwise known as
In
Berserk.
Shinji's, oh
That's the Berserk mode.
yeah, basically they grow a mouth. It pops out of the helmet, which by the way, they're like weirdly fused with their armor. That the armor is like a thing that they wear, but also a part of them. They can like generate it because Shinji's all screwed up arm. It just goes, my arm doesn't work. One sec, insta heals it, and then proceeds to use both hands. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
very super robot-y. And then the best part at the very end of the episode where the helmet falls off and he looks over and sees a gray lump of what's that? And then an eyeball grows out of it. And then the eyeball grows not one, but 4 irises. And he freaks the fuck out, but that does beg a good question. If he's mentally linked to the robot, which he is, and it grows back its eye and the eye stares into a reflection and then he sees that reflection, is he like staring at himself? Like what would that be in your perception?
I don't think it's like that. I am pretty sure that anything that he sees through that particular head, through that eyeball, has nothing to do with whatever he's connected to camera wise.
Okay, but he does scream and freak out because he's
Yeah,
Shinji,
I
and that's
think
what
it's
he.
more of a Ratatouille situation.
Yeah.
I
Okay, that
think
makes sense.
it's more of a Ratatouille
That is a
situation.
very
than
accurate description of
Avatar.
Ava.
Yes, Ava
I was
is
going to say it's like when
Ratatouille
you
with
crawl inside
emotional
it's like if you crawled inside of your mother's womb again and used her as a meat puppet. But
Flesh Gundam.
Ratatouille is
so
better.
yeah. Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah.
There's a character
stick
in
with the
Rurouni Kenshin
Ratatouille.
that does that.
Oh God, yes.
Yeah,
There is.
yeah. There's a character who
Damn,
does
I
ninja
gotta go
puppets
back and
made out
watch
of
that show.
flesh. As real dark. But yeah. So that's episode 2. I would argue episode 1 and 2 are a duology, and the true like you kind of have to watch both because it feels very unresolved if you just watch one. It's still fine on its own, but I would argue you should watch 1 and 2 together and then make your decision about like, okay, do I keep watching this? Because it feels like a 40-minute story that they had to break apart because of formatting. But arguably nowadays they would just have a 40-minute opening and then the next episode would be 20 minutes.
Yeah, that's fair.
So Bryan, you mentioned you had some notes. Did you have anything on this particular episode?
Yeah, I noticed that Ray's bandage was over the exact same eye that the angel attacked Ava 1 with, or destroyed on Ava 1. I don't know if that's coincidence or significant.
Ooh.
Maybe the angel likes to attack that specific side. Maybe it's because the weapon is on the angel's left hand. I don't know. But I did notice that. I did write as my opening note, of course, the child failed the fight spectacularly.
He did get his ass beat, yeah, for
Wait,
sure.
you mean this entirely untrained teenager with not an aggressive bone in his body was terrible in the field of battle? That makes no sense.
Don't forget, in the first episode, they said all he needs to do is just get in, and that's it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that's it. He just needs to be there so they can tell the robot to do shit.
That brings up a point too. I didn't realize when I first watched Ava, and I picked up on the second time. So Nerve and Gendo are all like, "You got to pilot this thing, right?" And then I'm like, "Oh, Masato like really wants to create a warm home for him." She courses him just as much. Like she's not really as good as she may appear to be. I always thought she was like super wholesome, but she's doing the same shit. She's just more like she's warmer about it at first.
At first,
we're talking about the first 3 episodes, but at first
first 3
she
episodes,
gets better.
yes.
Yeah.
But she essentially she's still new to all of this, and for whatever reason she has accepted the stuff with Ray, but seeing them do it to an outsider who's just a normal kid does wind up getting to her a little more as they go forward. I would also argue that she like you guys already pointed out, the whole like father relationship thing definitely points to something inside of her, and she identifies at least partially with Shinji, so it's hard watching him go through some of that stuff and watching Gendo be a fucking horrible human being.
She's also kind of like the opposite of him because he's real cold and distant and he's like controlling everything, and she's kind of chaotic. She, she drinks too much. Her house looks like shit. So
she tries to give
polar
beer
opposite.
to him.
Yeah.
The first picture she sent him had an arrow pointing to her tits.
She's bad as hell. I'm not gonna lie. So.
Yeah, I mean,
I will say
it's funny
this.
that she passed
She was
HR.
planning on putty potting him.
Putty potting a 13-year-old?
Oh no, it was clear
she's a fucking pedo. Is that what we're
I'll
going
joke about
with?
9/11. I'm not talking this Epstein stuff. Let's move on from this. Bryan, what's your take on
Japan's
this?
an island doesn't mean.
I have an entire paragraph about what was the dinner scene, the bath scene, The phone call before all of it, the framing of her as a character in both episodes, like all of it points to her having a really strange relationship with this 14-year-old.
Yeah,
it's accurate.
yeah. It doesn't look so good when you say it like that.
During when he's in the bath, she talks to herself and says, "Am I laying it on too thick?"
Yeah, it's very clear at that point.
He's up before he figures out what I'm doing.
Yeah,
like,
that's because at that point she's trying to get him to just
she knows
do the job so that she doesn't, he continues to pilot.
I think they were probably trying to go with
came out
showing.
Of the tub, though.
Yeah, I think they were trying to show how immature she is, but the problem is that she's almost 30, so she's like twice his age, so it comes across creepy as fuck.
A little bit.
So
it also doesn't help that they are using, because it's anime, all of the shots and stuff like that with Misato and the way that she's drawn in the opening, and they're using Misato as the hot anime chick character, so that because that's the thing, that's how anime works. So service.
Let's spend the next 20 minutes talking about this episode compared to High School DxD and just see how they connect, like what they have related to each other.
Really?
Damn.
No, I'm a big fan of that show. So I don't have to tell you.
David,
I watch it for the plot.
I like High School DxD. I don't like.
You got any thoughts on this episode?
Of it.
Yeah, I hate High School DxD.
You laughed at 9/11, but you hate High School DxD. So what do you love?
Let's see.
Tell me your favorite anime real quick, top of your head, just so I know what type of person you are.
You know what's funny? You're gonna immediately turn around. One of my favorite, legitimately, is like specifically older Gundams.
That's fair.
I pretty much stopped watching Gundam after Gundam 00, but I've watched all the other ones before that.
You haven't watched G-Cuck?
Wow. No, didn't watch G-Cuck. No.
Quux, whatever, however it's pronounced.
I haven't watched the Gundam Lesbians yet. I'm gonna watch that eventually.
Oh, that one's good. It's not a Gundam show, but it's a really good mecha show.
But yeah, I kind of I bounced off anime. This has been known. I don't really watch anime anymore. But my favorite, one of my I still think about man, I like Gundam. I'm not gonna watch it right now, but they did redo. They did continue Gundam Seed, and Gundam Seed is like one of the trashiest Gundams but I fucking love it. But I might go watch that. But yeah, no.
The movie. You might watch the movie that takes place after the two shows. So like 100 episodes of anime.
And don't forget there's a new show that's going to take place before the movie.
Yeah, you're going to watch the movie with Sydney Sweeney.
Wait, what? Are you guys? It's a fever dream? Y'all just fucking.
No, this is real.
It's real.
Yeah.
Everything we just said is real.
No, it's real.
There's 100 episodes of the original show. They just did the Freedom movie, and then they are making another anime for Seed that's a prequel, I guess, to the movie. And then they are doing a live action Gundam, supposedly, but that's been in the works for fucking 12 years at this point. So
it's real,
someday it'll come out.
Sydney Sweeney's in it, and it's coming to Netflix.
Man, it's true what they say. Time will eventually ruin other things you like.
Yes, look at Halo.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, Halo. I did like the anime called Halo. This is true until they continued it after Reach. Now I'm sad.
I would recommend.
Cool.
Okay, well, I would recommend you give Iron Blooded Orphans a chance, because it's like
Iron Blooded Orphans is the shit.
It's in the vein of 8th MS Team. If you like 8th MS Team,
it's like 8th MS Team. Okay,
yeah,
it's more brutal.
Yeah.
Oh, it is incredibly brutal. There's a bunch of people who die. The characters are all kids, and they're all child soldiers, but they're all like actual child soldiers, not like a child who is a soldier. No, they are professional mercenaries who are fucking 10. Some of them. So
not Gundam Wing, which was basically a K-pop band turned into Gundam pilots.
Listen, don't make fun of Gundam Wing, okay? When you love someone,
I'm not making fun of Gundam Wing.
It's really important you put a 9mm gun towards her face to let her know how much you care about them.
The worst part of Gundam Wing is the fact that Relina survives the entire show.
I do not support
she should have died. There's no reason for that woman to exist. She's the least good thing about Gundam Wing.
Let me ask the one normal human being in here, Bryan. What's your favorite anime?
Get Backers, maybe?
Wow,
that's fucking good. That's a good show.
I read Get Backers.
Anybody like My Love Story? The most pleasant anime ever made? Nope. Okay, that's what I thought.
No.
That's a really good show too.
Wait, most pleasant anime ever made is Restaurant to Another Universe.
That's actually pretty lovely. I'll give you that.
Yeah. I liked 300 Years of Killing Slime.
Before we move on to episode 3,
but
I do want to point out that the animation for that fight between Unit 1 and Sachiel, so goddamn good, especially back in the 90s. Everything.
The entire animation budget
for
those two episodes is that fight. and the rest of everything else is how little can we do so we can go back to working on the fight.
Which is why it's also interesting to see, because you mentioned it earlier, all the different moments that are kind of just like static a little bit and just the camera panning. You're like, oh, this is their budget coming into effect this early. So
It does get more aggressive as the show goes on.
yes, it
There's
does.
a I was watching part of episode 4 today. Oh my god, there's a like 50-minute hold where nothing moves on screen, but they keep doing sound effects to indicate stuff is happening and time is passing. And I'm like, I get that you're being artsy. If this was a movie, that would be impressive. This is animation. You are saving money.
Yeah.
You're leaving it
Oh
to your imagination.
Yep.
So
It's all sound effects and a static image.
end of
Theater of the
episode 2 is
mind.
basically seeing the action shot, and then it's back
Oh.
to him in bed going like, yeah, I'm traumatized for life. And then we go on to
Yep.
episode 3.
Yep.
Ryan, since you're the one who saw it, that I'm aware of most recently, what's episode 3?
That's the one where he starts school.
Yep.
So he goes to school. They all figure out he's the Ava pilot. I think Toji punches him in that too because his
Yes.
younger
Yeah,
sister
yeah.
got hurt.
She does.
And
twice.
then surprise, another angel attacks. What's that one's name?
Sham
Seashell. Yeah, that Sam Shell. And then
Well, it looks
this
like a
isn't this the
bug.
fucking episode where your whole internet name comes from?
Kensky? Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So this episode like bred you.
Yeah, basically, yeah. So my name is technically the way I was originally pronouncing it was Kent Skeet, but it's just Kensky with a TE at the end.
Like the Yin Yang twins.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love that song so much.
Yeah, but it's just Kensky with the TE at the end. And Kensky is the little nerdy dude who wanted to record the Ava fight.
Well, I guess the only other thing in this episode is like because they all get into the little pod together, right, to
Yes.
protect him.
Yeah.
And he actually kills an angel, like for the first time, without going
Yep.
berserk and all that, just being a normal person.
Well,
Well,
I
kind
mean,
of, yeah.
yeah, it's mostly him screaming and slamming a knife into its face.
He got very lucky.
Hoping that it dies.
Yeah, he got really lucky. Let's be honest. But
Oh yeah.
I personally always felt like, and maybe because, like you said earlier, Will, 1 and 2 really go together well. This
Mhm.
felt like weirdly slice of life in the beginning, and then all of a sudden it wasn't, and it kind of fell off for me a little bit because the first 2 episodes were such a high for me. I was like, this is so weird. What is going to happen?
I think also in writing they do a really good job in episode 1 and 2. They could have recut those episodes so that episode 1 is the entire thing, has the fight and finishes the fight, and in episode 2 is all of the aftermath. But breaking it apart like that works really well. And then in episode 2 you go all monster of the week, and it's a little jarring.
Yeah.
Or episode 3 is monster of the week because now all of a sudden it's okay, now we're just gonna like 50-50 and like there'll be some slice of lifey stuff and then he'll punch something that looks fucking weird in the face and it'll die and then we'll move on. And it's just it feels odd because it's almost like they have the 2 different styles of writing because they could have kept the show going like that in little like 2 or 3 episode bursts, much
Yeah.
like some people who are on here's favorite show currently called Zets, which functions as 2 or 3 episode short arcs. And it works really well because they're kind of self-contained, but they also have an overarching thing that moves. And the first 2 episodes of Ava are like that, and then you get the 3, and it is not like that at all. So it's just interesting.
So, with regards to the quote-unquote slice of life portion, one of the things that we end up learning is that Shinji has no friends, and he apparently during his time between that fight with the first angel that shows up, for him to fight, I think that's technically angel number 3, and then Shamshell's number 4. Between that fight and the new one, no friends, hasn't received any calls from his father. Like literally, he's got a cell phone that is just not blowing
She
up. It's
has
dry
a
as
phone
hell.
that does not ring because no one cares.
Yep.
Mhm.
And so then we do get the fight at the very end with the angel, and he knifes it in the core. And notice that compared to the first one just straight up blows up, and you see all this blood everywhere. By the way, with that first one, it bleeds blue compared to this one, where this one actually does bleed red.
Yeah.
So he
That's
kills
probably a
it, and
consistency
it
issue.
doesn't like explode. It doesn't like melt away or rot or anything like that. It's still there. So that's actually cool. So one of the things that I did learn, I don't know if they're actually going to be talking about it in the other episodes, but they're going to be studying that particular body. We do know that I don't know if they introduced it in the last episode or the first one, but in this one, you see where the thing is coming out and attacking the Ava. It manages to actually cut off its quote unquote umbilical cord, and we learn that the Avas are actually on battery time, and the batteries only last 5 minutes.
Oh yeah, they said that before.
Okay.
They said that in this
episode 1. The whole thing of episode 1 is that the umbilical gets cut and Shinji has no idea what he's doing, and they're like, he's going to run out of battery and then he'll be helpless. Apparently what they mean is he's going to run out of battery and then he'll fight, which is a weird way to describe the word helpless, to be
Well, it also kind of further reinforces him not being a hero, because he's never like, I must save people. He's like, I can't run away. I can't run away.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's not all of a sudden just courageous or anything. Like, he's
Nope.
pushing himself through that. And you don't really know, because you know how most anime people are pushing themselves through thinking they're growing and they're becoming better. He's really more self-destructing. He's like pushing himself into something he does not want to do. And he's becomes more unhinged every time.
All for daddy's love.
Yeah, all for daddy's love.
And he keeps talking to himself. That's in the most creepiest way ever. Whenever he's doing it, he's like, I hope they like what I'm doing.
Oh,
My
you mean
dad's
where he
not
keeps
here
on
to
saying,
watch.
keep it in the center, pull the trigger?
Yeah. Like he said, keep it in the center, pull the trigger, keep it in the center, pull the trigger.
Well, I don't think that's him trying to make it seem like that he wants people to like him for that. I think that's because he's basically like broken down to the point where he can only focus on that, and that's the only way that he can move forward until things happen to ramp up even further than that.
Yeah, and then when he's supposed to go out to fight the new angel, he's like, I don't even know why I'm doing this. My dad's not here to watch. He doesn't care.
Yeah.
Like,
I would argue that there's a lot of parallels between this and one of Ryan's favorite shows, the original
High School DxD.
No, not that. The original, not yet, not until later. The original Gundam, because the original Gundam, the main character is literally just a random teenage boy who happens to get in the robot, and then he's forced to keep going into battle, and it literally shatters him over the course of an entire show.
Yeah, because he literally runs away at one point, like with the Gundam. So
he runs away, and things get worse for him because Gundam is depressing as fuck. Because Gundam's core message is war bad.
I think another thing that's interesting too about Ava is like with Gundam. I mean, maybe because I watched it when I was a kid, I kept seeing the different Gundam suits, and I was like, these get progressively more badass looking. Like they'd be so cool to have these in the real world. They'd save us. But with Ava, I never felt that way. Like they look cool, but I don't really see them as like, oh, these things are protecting humanity. I see them more like we've created something equally as terrifying as the angels, especially when you realize it's flesh and there's eyeballs and all this shit. Like it's actually pretty scary. It's creepy. It's almost body horror in a lot of ways, or it is body horror.
Oh yeah,
for
Tano does that a lot.
Weird little flesh. Yeah, Shin Godzilla is a ton of nasty body horror.
So, any other notes or anything else anybody want to say about this last episode before we go on to rankings?
Yeah, I'll toss something in. I noticed something about the audio. First of all, the 5.1 mix is phenomenal. And being in the command room, there's just voices all around me that aren't even subtitled. They're just things being said by people in the room. I love that detail. But also, go for it.
I was just going to say the audio on the Netflix is fucking terrible. When I hit up so I can hear what they're saying, they get to a battle and I'm hitting down so that I'm not blowing out my speakers. It does the movie thing where it's mixed horribly because everything is flat and it's terrible. So when you're not doing the really nice audio cut, it's awful. Another thing that Netflix ruined for me. So thanks, guys.
The other thing is that when Shinji was being launched up to go to the surface to fight the angel, there's a very unique ostinato being played on some instruments. It's a very short, abrupt staccato line that reminds me a lot of Gustav Holst's song Mars from his Planet Suite. It's a very distinct sound that doesn't really exist anywhere else in the soundtrack so far, but here absolutely works within this combat sort of war theme.
Yeah,
what you just said sounded cool as fuck, but I have no idea what half of those words meant. I eat grilled cheese quite often. Sounded cool as hell, though. I'm going to assume that you know a lot about music based on that and your name.
Yes, I went to school for it, so.
Oh, well. Yeah, I think it's really interesting having you in here, though, talk about that, because I hear music, and I'm like, that's fucking badass, dude. But I never have anybody break it down why I think it is that way.
I have an entire YouTube channel about doing this for rock and metal, so
Oh, okay.
He's got some Coheed stuff on there.
Okay. You have piqued my interest.
Also, Bryan, if you are still into the emulation scene, definitely check out the PSP version for Rebuild. I think it's just called Shin Rebuild 2 or something like that, and it's a full-on music rhythm game for the first two Rebuild movies, and it's made by Grasshopper.
It's funny you
Cool.
mention that because when you were talking about everything we were going to cover, including non-Evangelion stuff, one of the first things I did was go on Wikipedia and see if I could find a list of Evangelion games, and I jotted that down for myself.
Dude,
There's so
I
many
finally got around to
games.
playing it earlier this year. I had a blast with it. It's so goddamn good. I don't know anything that they said in Japanese because it's a fully Japanese game, but you can still understand the basics of what you need to do. But with that said, I think we should get into the rankings of the episodes. So we do have six. Yeah, is it six? Yeah, six different letter grades for each episode that we can go to. It's S being the top. Then you got A, B, C, D, or F. With regards to S being as in like this was a perfect episode. Everything about it was just amazing. I kind of think that if we're going to be ranking these episodes, we should put one and two together. So whatever one goes into, two should go into it as well. Only due to the fact that they are so intrinsically tied to each other.
I'm cool with that.
Yeah, that's fair.
So with that said, I want to go with David first for episodes one and two. Where do you
Why
think it
me?
should rank?
Why me?
Because I need
I
it.
thought the same thing.
I need
Is
it.
that what you were
See,
saying the whole time he made you watch the show? Why me? Why
yeah.
me?
So, this doesn't mean I hate it. I
Oh,
view
here we
this
go.
as like it's I view this like a pilot episode. Its primary purpose is there to get
Literally.
you pay attention,
Wow.
right? And hopefully you like it. As in like sitcom pilot kind of, not like a literal pilot. It's a B for me. Not
Okay.
bad. I
For
like
one and
it.
two
It's
combined.
1 and 2 combines a B.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily agree. I'm maybe an A, but more likely a B. We have not gotten anywhere near the S ranked episodes yet.
No.
Those come later.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was kind of the same way at first because it took me just like Final Fantasy VII Remake. I had to start that game like 12 times before I actually wanted to
Before it
play it.
clicked.
Wow.
Before it clicked. I was the same way with the first two episodes of Ava. I was like, and then it finally clicked. So yeah, low A minus, B plus area, right in the middle.
Okay. Bryan?
I think I'm gonna go with a C right here. I'm kind of mixed. The animation, the attention to detail, there's so many things I love about it, but I'm just not connecting with the story or the characters so far, and the tone is all over the place. So I'm gonna go middle of the road, give it a C.
You're gonna be in for a wild ride because it's gonna be exactly like that throughout the entire show.
Oh my god.
So if you were to rank the music independently from the story and all that stuff, how would you rate the soundtrack?
Oh, the soundtrack's like an A at least so far.
Okay.
There's been phenomenal. I mean, even like on the audio design, away from the music itself, looking at like sound effects and stuff, everything is just meticulously placed in the mix. It is clear. They like the impacts have crunch to them. The music is just phenomenal. There's so much emotion in every single little choice. It feels like there's such attention to detail in every single sonic aspect of this.
Okay.
Have you
I
seen
like it.
Shin Godzilla?
No.
So the reason I
You
ask
should
that is
really
because they
watch
actually
that.
do pull a lot
Yeah.
of the music from this and put that into Shin Godzilla.
Shin Godzilla's soundtrack is done by the guy who did Attack on Titan, and it is fucking amazing soundtrack wise.
Sounds like I need to check it out.
You definitely do. Okay, so we got 1B, 1A, 1C. Let's go with Paul.
I'm gonna give the first two episodes a B.
Okay.
I've never I like it. I got into it, but at the same time, the following episodes take me completely out of it. So I'm like, it's a B. It's a B for me because the first two episodes they are great, but it's not like when I first saw Gundam. It didn't get me hooked.
Okay. Will.
Honestly, I would say that there are scenes that are A rank. On a whole, I would call it a B. I do think that 1 and 2 are stronger than 3.
Agree.
So I agree with the assessment of it being like a B or like a high B, low A type of thing. But there are definitely scenes that are very high A rank, but those are like 30 to 60 seconds and then they're gone. On the whole, I would definitely give it that high B, low A for the episode.
So I was going to rank it A. I still am. But I think the B's end up outranking everything else. So without
And
me
that's
having
C.
to explain anything on my end, we're just gonna go ahead and put that in the B ranking. All right. And then lastly, episode 3.
Before we do that, the two people that are watching it for the first time, please come on here and talk about episode 25 so I could hear your reactions to it,
Wow.
You mean
please.
25 and 26 because they're both practically the
Yes.
same.
Yes. I really need that breakdown. I guess while I'm talking. 3 is like a C to me. I didn't really meh. It almost lost me.
Okay. Was it the fight at the end that won you over?
Yeah, the fight was pretty cool, but the beginning of it, I was like, this is so jarring. It just kind of switched. And like David said earlier, the first two really felt like a pilot episode, like Lost, and then all of a sudden it's just like slice of life, and then there's a little bit of friendship, whatever, in there, but not really. I don't know. It just didn't. I didn't really care about that episode. I've never really liked the beginning of Ava that much. I always liked the end better.
It's basically slice of life
The
that ends up feeling like
end
set up throughout the
of
entire show.
Evangelion.
Yes. 1 through
Uh,
5 is struggling for me. 6 and on is good though.
Bryan.
I wonder if my opinion here is going to be a bit different from the majority. I actually enjoyed it kind of taking the action down a notch and focusing on the relationships of all these characters, explaining more of not the world, which is what the first two did, but how these people exist within it. Unfortunately, it is marred by the entire apartment scene, and that brings it down to a C again.
You don't like
Oh,
the
yeah.
apartment scene, huh?
Dude, it is terrible. Like,
I
it
never
does a
looked at it
good
in that light
job.
till you mentioned it.
It does a good job of characterizing her, and like her wild, do whatever she wants kind of lifestyle. But there's so many weird things in it, man.
It's hard to tell where the character ends and where the writers are just kind of being weird,
Absolutely.
which is an anime thing, if I'm being honest.
David.
Okay, I'm torn on this. So part okay, I don't know where to rank this. You figure it out in a minute. Like how Bryan said earlier, I didn't get the same part on this, which is the music. Because okay, I've watched the first Ava, right? And I watched the end. I did not see anything else after that. I was very much done with Ava.
Whoa. You can't just gloss over that. You watched
I
the
know.
first episode and then the end?
No. Sorry. The first run of Ava. This what we're currently watching now. That's the first Ava.
Oh,
Right?
okay. Because I know.
Yeah.
Just a side tangent to that.
Episode 1
One of
and
my
then episode 25.
one of my coworkers, his brother said, "Hey, I want you to go watch this movie with me," and it was the end of Evangelion. He had never seen it before, had never heard of it before. Decided, sure, I'll go with you. It's an anime movie. Why not? Came out going like, "What the fuck did I just watch?" So hear you say that.
So like the music Bryan mentioned earlier was so creepy to me because I know what Ava is. And I'm like, this has like a weird like Gundam heroic music. Shinji's not heroic.
No.
This is really
he's a victim.
strange. And like even when he wants to do something, right? Like and also too, like we see in this episode, like he does not have survival skills at all, right? He's socially awkward and stunted. He doesn't like attention. He wants attention from his father, but yet he has no one talking to him. He wants people to talk to him, so he says yes to the DM. He's the pilot, and he immediately hates the attention he gets because he shuts down immediately.
Mm-hmm.
So he could have just said no and lied. Like, he doesn't have the instinct to lie, right? He doesn't have the survival instinct to keep himself out of trouble because he's so destroyed as a person due to his father being an absolute piece of shit and probably other factors too. So you have this heroic music playing. It's this weird uplifty, like it has a little bit of like that early Mecha hit to it, right? And it's like that this is uncomfortable here, right? I'm not comfortable at all watching this episode. And then obviously, the apartment and how that chick should be dead to alcohol poisoning. There's so much Cointreau in her fucking house. There's a gross amount of Cointreau in her house. So a part of me is like, this is an A in the sense that you're seeing the fact that like this show is gonna make you uncomfortable. The music is gonna make you uncomfortable on and off when you don't even know you're gonna be uncomfortable. The Shinji is really being defined as like he he has no survival skills. He's going to scream and like he should have ran away. He was told, "Hey, you should run away. You got the assignment. You like he was getting the positive reinforcement from Asado. The new goal is to get the people out of there, right? Congratulations, you got the people. Time for you to get out. He can't run. He doesn't know what to fucking do. He has no survival skills, right? But then the rest of the episode happened. And that's like a C, if not a D sometimes, because you have to contend with the fact that like, people are like, hey, how's your boyfriend doing? Bro, he's 14 and like his brain barely works. Like, what do you mean boyfriend? So that's where I'm at. This is where you first see like the first parts of Ava are here for Shinji at least, but the rest of the episode is like, oh god, ugh. So
before
it's
you
like an
give
A
your
and
ranking,
some
then
but
let me give you
but it's
my
not
idea.
but it's not A, but it's not a B because it is definitely below 1 and 2, right? So
Correct.
that's where I'm at.
So with where I'm at, all the things that you said are completely valid. I completely agree that with the way that it's showing that he's got a fucked up situation going on, whether it's his living situation, the fact that his father doesn't care about him, that he's basically just going to be using him, and he has no reliable source of what's the word I'm looking for, anybody to lean on. He just doesn't have that kind of social system with anybody, and you can see it. And the fact that he is so debilitated to the point where he's literally just focusing on an order in order to try and maintain himself. I like all of that. Going from that, going to the apartment scene, which I know Bryan hates, I personally like, but also because of the fan service stuff that you
You
get to see.
would.
I would. And
I just said that.
not by Masato fan service. I mean all the different like cutesy type shit that you can see, like fucking Pen Pen. You're introduced to Pen Pen.
Yeah, Pen Pen's great. Yeah, of course.
And
So I
so
didn't
Pen
like
Pen's an
Pen
innocent
Pen.
soul in all this.
what?
Yep.
I'm just throwing that out there. He was a thing that was there and then he was gone, and I felt like it was the catalyst for Shinji to show up butt naked in front of her, and it's just the whole inciting incident thing. It didn't. None of it was necessary. I
But
blame him. I blame Pen Pen.
Wow.
Ooh.
I don't like
And
puffins. Isn't that what that
Whoa.
thing is? It's not a penguin, right? It's a puffin.
yeah.
Or is it a penguin? I don't know. I don't like any birds at all. So I was not in love with
Birds
that
don't
thing.
exist, man. So I don't think he's real. He's some
Yeah,
sort of
they're government
surveillance
drones.
device in the
Yeah.
bathroom. It's
Also,
creepy.
I don't think you asked Paul what his rating was, Sean.
Well, hang on, because I haven't asked Will either.
Nope.
So
Mm.
to go with that, the fact that we're getting so many different ways of how this episode is portraying itself, whether it's depression, whether it's not military, but like more along the lines of like just having to obey the military lifestyle of doing one thing over and over repeatedly, based off an order that you're getting, going to school. It's all the different things melding together. I fucking love that. It's jarring, but I do. The ending fight, it's more from that, but it does feel slightly different. In the way that I can describe it is that it's more like a tangential piece saying, hey, this is like a split off from that slice of life stuff, and you're basically getting a kind of a shit fight from that. You just get everything cooler from it, like, hey, it's knowing to be more aggressive, it's knowing to be a little bit more tactical in how to actually deal with you. But the fight itself is kind of lame, and we do get some more lore as to how the entry plug works and how people inside the Ava system are supposed to only have one person in it rather than multiple. Otherwise, you're gonna fuck up the system altogether.
Yeah.
I
Too
like
many
all that
voices
shit.
in a room makes it hard to hear the
Yeah.
voice. And when you're
So-
dealing with brains and brainwaves, it gets more
I
annoying.
get where people are coming from, thinking that it's not cohesive, but I think it thrives in that chaos, at least for me. So for me personally, I think that's an A.
This is why I don't respect you.
It's not even the only reason.
So
Oh yeah, no. This is the reason why you don't. This here.
Yeah, this
Oh,
reason
actually,
right
yeah.
here.
Ava
Nothing
is
else.
old, so this is the reason. This is the beginning.
Yeah.
So back to you, David. You mentioned that it could be like one of many different things. What is your final rating for that then?
I want to do A, but the problem is so many people say words and show things that I don't want to see in the rest of the episode. Where I'm like, I don't know. I'm you know what? Fuck it. I'm leaning towards C. It's C. There's a lot of A here that I do like I said, but like, yeah. And that's the other thing. Once again, I guess the last thing I'm gonna say about his lack of survival. He's trying really hard to do exactly what he's being told. That gun scene where he's repeating himself, this is what he needs to do, what he needs to do, right? Like, pull the gun, whatever. And the first thing he gets, right, he just mag dumps, which understandable, right? He's freaking out. But like that was the only thing we saw him try to prepare for and he can't even bring himself to do the only thing he did. And we see him do the one thing we didn't see him do to try to survive, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he is screwed up beyond belief. I even like that part with the gun, right? And to see it come back later. But yeah, no, just I'm not a huge fan of the kids yet. It's I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of too much anime tropiness. So the bully who gets bad news and takes it out on the first person he could justify taking it out on trope. I'm personally always tired of seeing, even though this is obviously 95, so this is probably where it fucking first started for all I know.
No.
Anime started in 95.
Might as well have. Anime didn't exist until the 90s. Everyone knows this.
Yeah. Who the fuck is Osamu Tezuka?
Right? So, like, it's just one of those things where, like I said, it's hard for me. I think I'm gonna just say C and get it over with.
Okay, Paul.
I'm gonna go with D.
Wow.
He's nuts.
Damn.
I'm gonna
Ooh.
go with a D, mainly because he had more training than most first time mobile suit pilots in any series, and all he could think of was just stabbing and holding the knife there. That was it.
I will argue slightly. The difference is Amuro wants to live. I'm not so sure about Shinji.
Oh no, Shinji
Okay.
doesn't give a shit.
Yeah, he wants to die.
Shinji just doesn't give
Yeah.
a shit. But even if he was going purely on adrenaline, which is how they portray it, he should have been consistently stabbing that shit.
So here's the
Just
thing.
one stab and just ah.
I would argue that this actually shows a really good, as someone who has never been in war, from what I've learned of it, this is actually a pretty accurate portrayal of the average infantryman who 4 months before being on the front line was a normal person and now is expected to go into battle and kill people. That's a pretty accurate representation. Shinji is pretty accurate. You teach them to do it, they'll like kind of knuckle down and like, they can hit the target now and they can do it, but hitting a stationary target in a shooting range is nothing like being in the midst of battle, filled with adrenaline, knowing that if you fuck up, you could be permanently maimed or killed. And it is a make or break moment. You either piss your pants and run away at the sight of the enemy, do nothing and go deer in headlights and kind of crumble to the ground, or you wind up like figuring it out and surviving the conflict. Shinji is kind of reacting the way that a lot of people, especially people who are not clearly should not be soldiers, when thrust into combat, kind of would just freak out and fuck up terribly. I would argue that's actually pretty accurate, especially because he's gotten like 2 weeks of shooting training and he literally blacked out during his first combat encounter. So Shinji has never actually been in a fight, unless you count Toji, in which case he's 0 for 1 when he starts the fight in episode 2.
So
Okay.
go for it.
That punch was funny as fuck. That was funny as fuck
It
to
is.
me because it was first. I'm gonna hit you because you caused a accident that hurt my sister, and then
Yeah, that's real funny.
do you think? Yeah, do you think I actually
He
wanted
enjoys
to be
child
in that
pain.
machine? Do you really think I wanted to be in that machine? I'm only doing it because they told me. And then he comes back and hits him like you got hit a second time because you were being a little bitch.
Is that the don't flinch and then you get hit twice? Is that the logic we're going with?
I think it
He
is.
freaking yeah. He
That's how
was
they write
being a
Toji.
little bitch. Yeah.
But Will, with all that you said, where would you put number 3?
Oh, this is clearly an S rank episode. Some of the top in the entire show. We don't get any better than this. It's all downhill from here. Mostly going to be C's and D's after this episode.
I hate you.
I would give it a C. It's fine.
You,
like,
you know,
like
what's funny? That is that like I've known Ryan for a bit. That might be the most sincere he has been in a very long time. Like, that was a real moment for him right there.
I actually love Will. I
uh,
truly do. He's a
I know
genuine person.
it would be very nice to see you again. Unfortunately, we are not close enough to North Carolina, and we do not have enough funding.
I'm too
But
sweaty today.
yeah, I
He doesn't
just
know
go
how to
set for the C.
respond.
It's fine. Oh no, I was just trying to grade the episode. It's a C.
All
It's
right,
fine.
there
It's
we
there.
go.
Before we
Like
move
again,
on,
it does the same thing the first two do, where it's like there are these moments where it peaks pretty well, and then proceeds to immediately valley. And yeah,
Right guy had something he wanted to say.
Yeah, before we move on, Will, you had mentioned that Shinji's kind of acting as a person might in that situation, given the adrenaline and the stress and all of that, without the proper experience.
Yes.
I want to throw a question out to all of you. Would you consider Shinji to be berserking at this moment?
No.
As a human, yes. Not in
Right.
the anime, you win your fight because you're berserking. But yes,
I would
he's
love
literally
to.
just screaming and
Right.
just running towards the enemy. That he's not doing anything.
I would love to write that question down and visit that after the whole original run of the show, when everybody understands what certain
I
things
would say
are.
he's having an anxiety attack.
Right. Well, because
I
I
would say
bring
it's
this
an
up
advanced anxiety attack.
because the term y'all introduced me to when the unit went crazy in episode 2 was berserking, and this parallels that pretty well, just kind of rushing into combat, but this time it's actually Shinji, not the unit itself.
Yes, but like with what Paul said, Shinji is doing it like a human with higher brain function. When we talk about the Avas doing it, it's an animal that is popping itself up on adrenaline and then going for the throat. Like that's how the Ava functions when it berserks. Shinji is just screaming and taking a pointy object and holding it in front of him. That's it. It's,
I don't
No,
know.
anxiety
absolutely.
attack is a really good description.
I kind of agree with Bryan though, because you've seen that before where people snap and they just, prison shank somebody.
You mean how
Yeah,
like they
but
black out when they're in the middle of their action?
Yeah, like
Hmm.
it's like a human
I do
berserk.
know someone who described it like that, where they didn't understand when people say they black out and like they hurt someone. They didn't know what that was, and then they were like walking around, and somebody had come up and like gotten into a fight with someone they knew, and they didn't even like register their actions. It was kind of like a blink, and then they're like, "Did I just hit someone?" Because they were reacting on like a not subconscious, but I would call it like the lizard brain type of thing,
It's a very
where you
primal thing,
react.
yeah.
Yeah, you react as an animal would. It hits all of the notes for your brain to just skip the higher functions entirely and immediately into a physical response.
There you have it. So our current rankings, we've got episodes 1 and 2 in RB, and we also have episodes 3 in RC. Guys, this is a really good conversation. Very, very many tangents, but it was worth it. I can't wait for next week where we go through 4 through 6. I can't wait to see who else is showing up next week. You guys have any last things you want to say before we head out for the night?
No.
Well,
I
all
love you all.
I'm not much to add. Yeah.
I gotta eat.
Yeah, let's get this man some
Checkers.
food. All right, everyone, have a good night.
Right.
Thank
Catch
you
you
for
next
joining.
week.
Bye bye.
Good night,
So the
everyone.
recording